Lancaster County, and so that's a good sign. Smaller counties would be problematic because you have to have a certain economy of scale and numbers in order to have the staff to make that work.
Other questions, comments? Paul?
Yeah, I was going to follow up on Ken's remarks and Ann's to extend Roger's. When I think about questions like this, I always move them to a religious source, not necessarily a formal religious source, but what our ultimate assumptions are. And I think Augustine regards government as simply existing for defense and a few other things. But in most Christian theology, particularly theology since Aquinas, the notion is that government exists to serve the common prophet or to serve charity, love each other. That's true in Judaism and Islam also. And I think one of the things that has happened in the last 50 years is that with Reagan, and particularly with the widespread proliferation of libertarianism and belief in Ayn Rand's philosophy, and some kind of curious blending of that with right-wing Christianity, the notion is that you serve the good of others by serving yourself. Greed is good, that kind of thing. And that's endemic in what's called Christianity in I'd say a third to half the nation. And that's where policy comes from. Policy comes from basic belief systems. And I think until we attack that sort of theology, and the church itself, or the traditional churches themselves, have to start talking about this, and they're not.
Mark?
Yeah, in Sarpy County, it was brought to my attention recently that a man had Crohn's disease and was not getting his medications from the county, even though they knew he had that disease, and it's a disease that eats away at your own intestines. And I'm wondering what kind of programs are there here in Lancaster County, or are there any guarantees that that sort of thing is not happening here, whether it be a physical ailment that requires meds, which are very expensive for Crohn's disease. I heard it was $3,000 a month that they would have to pay while he was in there, and that's, I'm sure, why they chose not to pay it. And I'm wondering, and I called the Ombudsman's office, and they told me we have several staff members that's all they do is investigate those kinds of things, and they often find that the counties are not doing the proper things. And why is that allowed to just go on and on and on, that we have to have an ombudsman, staff members, to watch over that and take reports?
It's a part of the common responsibility of government. If we incarcerate someone, then we assume the parental role for that person, which includes their health maintenance. We have to feed them, we have to provide all of their health needs, including their meds, any operations. So Sarpy County has a problem. They have a problem in that they're already disobeying Jail Standards Act. That's not the intent of the Constitution or the will of the people of the state. If you're incarcerated, your health has to be maintained, and we do that as a common good of the taxpayer paying the public. So I think we need to make noises when that happens. The Ombudsman's a good call. Calling other state officials, I think, needs to shine light on those kinds of situations. They're certainly not obeying Jail Standards Act. That's the law. So this county, and it's interesting. There's so many pressures now on county board members because their income is down. Counties run on property tax income. So when the recession hit, it took maybe 2 years before those tax receipts really began to go down. And it's down now, and will be down for a long period of time, and will be there, well, I would say at least 3 more fiscal years before you see some major tax receipts from property tax beginning to be felt by county boards. So county boards are running very, very much afraid of their revenue shortfall. They refuse to raise taxes. They refuse to borrow money. And so they're doing all kinds of avoidance behavior. And so that's what's happening. County board doesn't want to spend any money. They've all taken Grover's pledge not to increase taxes. And so that's what's happening with public officials all across the state. This county decided to privatize it. And I don't know if you're all aware of that, but just within the last 90 days, Lancaster County has contracted with a for-profit company from Nashville, Tennessee, and they turned over all pharmacy, all nursing, all primary care, and all mental health care to a for-profit company out of state. And you can bet that company is not buying anything locally. They already are buying their drugs out of state. So we're missing a lot of opportunities to even help support our own efforts. I have some real problems with privatization and using privatization with populations that are totally dependent on taxpayers and they're vulnerable.
They're your bosses, Dean.
I know. I don't agree with it. And they know I don't agree with it.
Don't you think they'll do as good a job as Health and Human Services privatization has done?
Well, that's not working out.
Other